That's not just, that's mercy, my friend. It's mercy and justice reconciling on the cross.
No, that's mercy. That's not justice.
That all sins must be paid for, that they must be atoned for, and that sin can also be forgiven once the necessary debt has been paid.
Yeah, but you're not paying the debt, somebody else is. That's not justice.
I know, bro, that's called mercy.
So how is your God just?
Because the sins are punished.
Yeah, but your sins haven't been punished. You haven't been punished for your sins. Jesus was punished for your sins.
Yes, that's the mercy aspect of it. But you see how
your God is not just. You would agree then? Your God is not just. Your God is not just then.
What's telling you that God would be unjust based on that?
Because somebody else is taking the punishment for your sin, your crime.
Unjust.
I just need to ask a clarifying question. ADJ, is your position penal substitutionary?
So your argument against the Muslim doesn't really stand, does it, in view of your own God's position?
You haven't explained why it's unjust.
Well, it would be unjust to punish somebody else for my crime. Would you not agree with that?
Not always, no.
How so? Explain.
Justice is always going to be with respect to something, right? So with respect to what system or with respect to what code are we talking about where justice is applied, right? So it wouldn't be... So when we say it's unjust, we're saying with respect to the rules, right? Something is just with respect to the rules.
Also, we have to do it in accordance to the law. So in accordance to the law, there's ways to reconcile for sin, which is mentioned in the book of Leviticus, and what Jesus is described as the bond servant. So that's another name for a person that does bail, like Dog the Bounty Hunter, something like that. So under this particular law, there can be the atonement for sins, but it has to be paid. So Jesus acts as the bailiff.
So if we were to take the analogy that sin is a moral wrong, would you agree with that?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Is sin a moral wrong?
It's a bit of a tautology, but yeah.
Oh, so well, if they're synonymous, then yeah, that's fine. If you say that sin is a moral wrong, then that's fine. You agree with the position that the sin is a moral wrong.
Yep.
So if I commit a moral wrong, where would the justice be if the recompense for that moral wrong, by way of punishment, happened to somebody else?
It comes down into the legal system and how the law is promoted. So if there is a way that there can be a level of atonement passed on to another, which is acceptable by the judge, that's allowed.
So on the Euthyphro dilemma, you would just hang yourself on the horn of, if God does it, it's right.
No, it's not the Euthyphro dilemma. The Euthyphro dilemma doesn't apply here because we're not saying that God just picks an arbitrary standard or there's a standard outside of God that he uses. We're saying that God is the standard.
Well, that is the same as saying that God does as he is.
No, it's saying that there's something arbitrary, which means it can change.
Well, you were suggesting that
God is if we're appealing to God and saying that God is a standard, and we're appealing to his nature, which is an unchanging nature.
So is the law outside of God, this law that you're talking about, or is it determined by
outside of God? It's nothing.
Exactly. So you are hung on that horn of the trilemma, or the dilemma.
No, my friend,
of course you are.
Again. No, because it would be something. It'd be arbitrary, something that can change.
Well, it did change.
Stop for a second. You understand?
It did change. In your own light, it changed.
Please stop for a second. The Epicurean paradox, the Euthyphro dilemma, these Greek god arguments are not based on a transcendental God. They believe these gods were parts of nature existing within the material realm. And the reason why they were being criticized is because Epicurean recognized them as being localistic. Since they were localistic, they were incapable of doing these things.
How do you get to the proof of your God outside of this Hellenistic system?
Outside of the what, sorry?
Outside of the Greek system, which all of your church fathers used to prove your God, how do you do it?
My friends, they didn't. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay, nobody used Zeus to prove Yahweh.
No, they used Aristotle.
And Aristotle was appealing to a transcendental God outside of the universe.
No, he wasn't.
He was appealing to something in nature, was he?
He was appealing to a PSR.
Which is just the principle of sufficient reasoning.
Yeah.
So that would lead to, if you reduce the universe to what it is, space, time, and matter, whatever is producing the universe is spaceless, timeless, and immaterial. That's transcendental, super.
I don't think you understand what transcendental means. Transcendental doesn't mean some
what's
kind
it
of... It means explanatory, basically.
What?
It means it's explanatory power. It's not that it's some weird magical thing outside of things. And Aristotle
it's a
argued...
weird magical thing.
Well, this seems to be what you're inferring. But Aristotle, you said it was outside of space and time and all things, so therefore transcendental.
Why did it go? What just happened? Did I lose internet? Why did it go silent?
All right, so I'm just going to look up transcendental meaning, and it says relating to a spiritual realm, or in Kantian philosophy, presuppose and necessary to an experience.
Yeah,
A priori.
explanatory to experience, yeah.
So you're
In the
using the
Kantian term.
Kantian view.
Yeah, about intelligibility, yeah.
So are you a naturalist when you're looking at that view, or are you appealing to something outside of naturalism?
I'm not a naturalist, no.
Well, then it would have to be outside
my
of
view
nature.
isn't
Well done.
my view isn't in question here. It's yours.
And it's got to be something outside of space, time, and matter, which is nature.
Your view is in question, not mine.
You believe in the same thing, though.
Why are you asking me questions?
Are we going into sophistry now? Okay.
Lex Luthor.
So you're trying to go into sophistry. You're trying to do a tu quaque.
How?
Okay.
Asking me what I
You're
believe.
saying that transcendental means when we're talking about it in this context, it's not relating to Kant.
We are talking about what's relating to Kant, but Kant was using transcendentals to prove what?
Oh, I thought he's not sure.
What was Kant using transcendentals to try and prove? Because it wasn't God.
Can I just say, Anthony Albanese is a massive cockhead. That guy needs a good fucking hiding, that cunt. Sorry.
Who?
I just...
Oh, okay.
It went quiet.
Is this GG? Is this GG, or do we wait for you to Google it?
Yeah, what's happening? Is ADJ actually Googling something, or?
I'm fine.
No, I'm
yeah.
just not bothering to reply to things that are simply wrong.
What was the question?
I asked you a question about what was Kant trying to prove with his transcendental argument, because it wasn't God. What was it? And you chose to ignore that for reasons?
Because it's got nothing to do with the conversation.
We were literally just talking about Kant's transcendental argument.
No, it's something you brought up where we're actually talking about the Bible and God.
I don't remember discussing the Bible with you once.
It's because you decided to jump in.
Okay, sure. If you wanna run, that's fine.
Okay, I'll just take your gaslighting and just ignore that as well.
Yeah, sure. Don't worry about it. I win. You lose. Get wrecked, Ned.
Okay.
So we're gonna.
Oh,
Thanks,
that's
man. Well
wrong.
done.
Okay.
I don't see how. I don't see. Don't get me wrong. I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. I know that me and you, ADJ, just kind of got into a long discussion, but I don't see how refusing to answer his question the way that you are isn't running.
Yeah,
It's a question not to do with anything though. We're talking about Jesus on the cross.
we're gonna just.
We're
gonna-
What's Immanuel Kant got to do with it?
Well, the
No,
problem of evil doesn't particularly have to entail the Bible. I say the problem of evil doesn't particularly have to entail the Bible, right? Like, if you have a God who is this and this, then surely the transcendentals that you guys were talking about, then...
I'm gonna unmute you, but I'm done hearing about the problem of evil and all that bullshit.
Again, Bob, I'll just ask you. So, what's Immanuel Kant got to do with Jesus dying on the cross?
Can't speak?
You can type it.
No.
Sorry for the pause on that. Fucking Discord glitch. The same thing goes with the Muslims and shit like that. I'm not really interested. stupid